Yeah, so obviously, Shion has announced that she is graduating as well. And looks like another one that's like for mental, maybe even physical reasons. Because yeah, reading the transcript, it was in very bad grammar, and I don't think anyone translated it. Well, I think that was like the transcript, but it was like very poorly grammared. Is what I was referring to. And yeah, like, it was kind of surprising to me because like when the fauna stuff broke out, it took like I feel like it took like 2 weeks before people finally like died down about that stuff. Maybe it's because I was actually a part of it as well, but like I feel like after a day, the Shion stuff just wore off. Like I don't know if it's just because like Shion worded hers a lot better or something, and like was much more open about it. Maybe it's the same with like Chloe. I feel like hers just kind of got overshadowed by freaking Fauna's announcement. Because I feel like Chloe says a lot of good stuff there that like people should probably remember, but they don't because they only remember how freaking out about Fauna leaving. Because like that's the thing, like people were shocked when the announcement came out, but like I guess me as a new fan, like the one person in the end who seemed most likely to leave was Fauna, if there was a member to leave. You know, like I literally talked about that on the, because I believe I streamed the day of Chloe's announcement, and then day after I think was Fauna's. So yeah, that was basically what I was talking about that whole stream, was like, oh, then why is Fauna left? And then the day after, it immediately aged very poorly. So that was great. Yeah. And I literally looked on Blue Sky too. There's like a few people like, oh man, Shion graduated, and like sad face. Those posts had like very few likes as well. It's like, yeah, I don't think there's many Hololive fans on Blue Sky, which makes sense because the Hololive members aren't. Like, they're still on Twitter. Like, I'm sure that's probably why a lot of, like, myself included, you know, even on Twitter, like, check it somewhat regularly. If Hololive was on Blue Sky, not Twitter, dude, like, I would not. I feel like I barely look at Twitter. Like, there's a few, like, political people on there. So, like, I'd look at that for, like, politics, but it's like, I feel like that would also help my brain, you know, because I know what mind space to get in, you know, when I'm going through it instead of just scrolling through, like, and alternating. You know, that would be much better, but... And I also just think, like, Blue Sky's such a better fit for them than Twitter. Because it's just not a platform for creators, I feel like, anymore. Like, there's much better ones. I think the only reason, like, Twitter is still used, honestly, is because there's so many people that use it. I heard like Mammoth or something like that. It was like, oh, it's good for creators, but I think also like it's not that easy to use. Like the UI or whatever isn't that great. Not really UI, but I can't think of the term for it, but it's not great. It's not very beginner friendly, I think. So yeah. Because another thing is like Blue Sky actually doesn't like downplay the posts that have links. Like, even YouTube does that, and, like, I don't get it. I guess because they might be like, oh, it's bots, but, like, really? I feel like, honestly, it might be the same reason that, like, Twitter does it, where, like, they don't want you to leave the platform. I feel like that's probably what it is. But, because, like, it doesn't make any sense to be like, oh, it's a bot. Like, come on. I don't know, man. Yeah, Shion's leaving. And I think like another thing, and I tweeted about it that nobody saw, but like people don't really talk about, is individuals can change their goals as well, not just companies. Which like I'm sure like yeah, Hololive as a company absolutely has probably changed since when like Shion was joined. Obviously like it was probably still super small when Shion joined. Like Gamers wasn't even there, right? That's how long ago it was. And the main reason I knew that actually is because Mio, Okayu, and I think Korone all like their first collab was Shion. Because yeah, my initial thing going in was like, oh, I think she's really only like, because I've got one guide, I'm gonna be honest. They say like, oh, the two people that are remaining close to is Aqua and Chloe, and now they're gone. And like, yeah, that'd probably be a huge hit to their mental, which I think is part of it. When she's like, oh, I was hoping this mental thing get better, but didn't. I'm sure that definitely was not helpful, right? When those two left. But yeah. People also change their goals, and I think it's kind of well-known, like kind of well-known knowledge that Shion is one of the youngest members. Like I think even still, even though she's been there for like 6.5 years, right? I think she's still like probably one of the youngest members. So like yeah, she probably also like thought about what she wanted to do, you know? And yeah, it seemed like if she kept being in Hollow, it was only gonna make it worse. So like she has to leave. And yeah, I think with how open she was about that, and like even though like it's still kind of vague, right? Just like, oh, difference in direction or whatever, like differences. Which again, I still feel like they say that as the most like safe way for both sides, right? It's the most safe thing they can do, is just be like, oh, there was different like disagreements. That's it. You know, there was like different views on how things should be. That's like the safest way to put it. Because like, yeah, sure, the company can take a bit of the brunt of it, and then also like say it was like kind of a minor thing, or at least some people would think it's kind of a minor thing. Like, yeah, no, they're just gonna be bombarded as well, like if they did come out with that. So like I think that's another thing to keep in mind when they're being vague, is it could be to protect them as well. It's like the safe thing to do. Because you know what happens when just one random dude gets provoked for some reason, then they just dox someone because like, oh hey, look at me, I'm cool. Sick, dude, awesome. Yeah. And I think Marin kind of like said what I feel like I was thinking with like the older members, right? Of like, I think they're gonna stay around a lot longer. I don't think necessarily for the same reason with Marin, because Marin is like, I don't know what I would do with my life if I'm not in Hollow anymore. But like, I think some are like, this is what I want to do, right? Like they've thought it through. This is what they want to do. I'm sure also for those who've been in like black companies before as well. Yeah, it did also bring up a lot of questions of like, it reminded me that like they want to run Hololive like Disney, and I don't think you can do that, right? Because like they're trying to build IPs obviously, right? And I think like get like merch and stuff, but like that's gonna be very hard to do. Because the thing with like Disney is like they're fictional characters, right? Like, so like they can just write them, or like, you know, like they just need a VA, and like as long as like you just get someone who sounds similar to the voice, it's fine, right? Like even if the voice actually gets too old, so that's not like that big of a deal. But the problem is with the people is that yeah, once they're gone, you can't do anything with them. Especially since they're streaming. Like, it's not like you can just bring back the persona with a different actor. You can't do that. So, like, when you're making IP, it's, like, very hard. And, like, yeah, if you have this constant revolving door, and I think maybe Yago, I think, like, he's starting to pick up on it, like, especially with how many people are leaving. And like people's concerns, but I think also, yeah, from like the IP standpoint of like, what are we gonna do, you know, like if these big names like leave. I don't think the biggest names are gonna leave, because like Callie has like music brands. I think she did say though, if she gets mistreated like at all, like or sees any signs of mistreatment, she's out. I know Maureen said she's gonna basically be with Hololive, I think, until her contract is terminated. Fubuki's one also, like, I think if, you know, it turns into a black company, she's leaving. Um, yeah. Like, the thing with, like, a lot of the big names is, like, I don't even know if they'd have the money to buy their rights. I don't even know if they can do that, the rights to their character. I assume they could, right? Buy the rights to them. I would think they'd be able to. It makes sense. Yeah, like, I feel like it's really hard to run a VTuber agency like Disney, especially when, like, you have to put on, like, oh, you still have to be, like, brand safe, right? And, like, advertiser friendly. It's really hard to do that. Like, if they were just, like, whatever themselves, you know, like a bunch of other groups were, I don't think it'd be as bad, and, like, they wouldn't maybe have as much shackles, you know, like these chains to them. Because, like, I think that's the main thing. It's just, like, yeah, that's mostly what it is. Because even, like, the whole overwork thing, that's their thing, which there is a lot of them that kind of destroy themselves, which is, like, not good. Yeah, like, take care of yourselves. But yeah, I think it's mainly the, like, game perms or whatever, and, like, they can't go all out, because I know, like, people say, like, GG's holding back. I think there's a few more of them, like, just holding back compared to their past life. CC was another one, because I know people say, like, CC swore a lot, and I mean, yeah, there's been a couple times, like, she's kind of, like, muttered a swear word I've seen in clips. Which always interests me, like, that part is interesting to me too, because, like, Callie did that, like, all the time. Like, I guess it was, like, still being a myth. Like, Hollow wasn't its boom period at that point, but, like, I don't think it was, like, all right, we're gonna go public, right? So, like, I don't think that still was, like, a huge issue. I think Narissa also, like, kind of dropped saying swear words recently. I haven't heard many clips of her, like, swearing. I think she did it way more when she debuted, and it's like, yeah, I can swear. Because, like, that was a clip. But, like, I don't think in the recent one she's, like, sworn, like, at all. I think it's just something you kind of just, like, just stop doing it. I think it's, though, another thing of, like, you're in an environment, right, where people just swear a bunch, which I assume is typically, like, young adult, like, high school, right? That's when you'll hear people swearing a lot. And then, like, once you're just in an environment where people don't swear, you just stop doing it. And then when someone brings it up, it's like, all right, like, yeah, I just don't do it anymore. You know? So I think it's probably partly that. Like, they're just in an environment where people don't swear. That's what it is. Yeah. My one main concern about the whole thing, Shion, though, is, like, I'm really concerned it'll turn to a Rushia thing, with her being like, oh, but I have, like, my fans and stuff like that. Like, I'm worried it'll turn into a Rushia thing where she doesn't get the help she needs and just keep streaming. I don't think that'll happen, but it is kind of a thing that's having the back of my mind that I really hope that doesn't. Hope she, like, gets the help she needs and then, like, comes back. But and I think it's the thing with, like, Chloe's doing, like, recovering her throat, right? Having that recover, because, well, yeah, even she said, like, oh yeah, like, please support me in, like, my next thing, right? Like, Cover even allowed her to say that, so she's definitely gonna come back in some sort of capacity. But yeah, she's probably letting her throat heal. Because I think Fauna already debuted technically by this point, right? I think it was, like, literally 2 weeks later, Fauna was back, so yeah. There's that. I will say that the, like, funniest thing from that, and I feel like also the saddest thing, was Yago pointing out a statement, right? Like, all the, like, people leaving, you know, maybe this, like, past, like, 9 months, right? Because I think Aqua announced in, like, June or something like that, or, like, May, so it passed, like, 9-10 months. Yeah, like, he was freaking addressing it. And, like, literally he put in his last paragraph, and, like, maybe this is Google Translate being off, like, it's possible, but literally put in the last paragraph that we're gonna talk with the talents, right, and like check in with them, get like any feedback, right. Literally the top reply of that was like, oh, so are you gonna find the root of the problem? And it's like, he literally said that. He said that's what they're going to do. He literally said, like, we're gonna talk with the talents, which I assume would be like, oh yeah, we're gonna maybe find a potential problem here and like deal with it, you know. Yeah, I was also thinking honestly that the like music thing was like the last straw for her, but I don't think it was. Maybe because I think she was like, oh, I was hoping like it would get better, right, after taking that year-long break, and then I think that happened. So yeah, that probably didn't help her. So yeah, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but like I don't think it would have been that detrimental. Like it would have been that major of a contributor. So yeah. Yeah, Shion gone. It also makes it that both in the EN and JP branch, the first gen to have 2 people graduate was Gen 2 in both of them, which makes sense, right? Because obviously if you're going in order, you would think, yeah, it would be probably Gen 1 or Gen 2 would be your guess, you know, of people who would leave first. Honestly, yeah, it would probably be Gen 2, because Gen 1 I feel like has like that like expectation, or like, you know, they have like that status, I feel like, and that pressure maybe to stay a little bit more, where Gen 2 doesn't as much. I mean, maybe JP Gen 2, but I think they like council. It's not that big of a burden. I think it's not a big thing that would be looming over them. It's like Myth was the first of EN, so like I can see maybe a little bit of pressure from that. Just in their mindset. I'm not even saying like from fans, because I doubt that's the case, but just like from in their own head about it. I will say though, this is like keeps consistently happening, and it's like a revolving door. I'm gonna be lost on like, okay, so is this person gonna be, we still got a couple years on this person? Like I'm gonna be so lost in that. I was thinking though, like, and this isn't me saying like, oh, they will. This is me thinking who's the most likely to. I still think it's very unlikely. Of like the top sub 2 members, right? Like an Aqua level, right? Of who would leave. I think it would be Pecora. Just based off of like what she said before, with like the kind of the limitations they've put on with like streaming a bit. She's not a huge fan of them. So I think if there was like a huge, well, Marian's staying, that's the thing. Which I think it's possible. I don't know though, because I guess it depends on if Gura is also like a lifer, right? Which like if you're a brand, which is what they're going for, I think Cover won't do anything possible to keep Gura around. Because yeah, you want to keep your Mickey Mouse, right? Like Gura is like the Mario or like the Mickey Mouse of Hololive at this point. She's the face of it. So like, yeah, it wouldn't be great if you lost that. I mean, that's the thing, like, I think top 4, I mean, maybe Suisse like going independent music, but I feel like even the fact that she stayed in Hololive though and has done the stuff she's done musically, like, I don't think she's gonna leave for a while. And then yeah, Fubuki obviously said she's gonna stay until things turn south with Hololive. Like it's moving in a direction she believes is not good. I think Callie's similar, and I think like a lot of them that worked in black companies prior are probably gonna be very similar. That's what I mean, man. Like, and I said like, I think when the Fauna stuff happened, it's gonna be so obvious when Hollow turns into a black company. Like, just look at what happened with Niji. It was, I mean, I think it helped that like the stuff came out, right, and then people left, but like I think if, because even with this, it's been like 3 months per like person, except for Chloe and Fauna were back to back. Like the thing is, like, why would Chloe be affiliate, right? why would she decide to want to stick around? And like, yeah, I guess I haven't said anything about, and like Fauna specifically like didn't really mention the management, but I think Ame did. Like she like appreciated the management. I did think though, because I was like, oh, expect like more like people leaving, but like taking affiliate when the Ame left. And so far there's been 3 people who've left and 1's been affiliate, 2 have graduated. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I will say though, if what Ame's doing, it makes a lot of sense for her. Like on someone asking like, oh, will you come back full time? And she's like, maybe. It makes a lot of sense. Because like it was kind of uncharted territory for her, and like at that time, right? But I think it's worked out so well at this point that yeah, I don't think she'll come back full time. It is pretty neat though that she'll might come back for some concerts or something. Yeah. Subaru is also another one I feel like would stay around for a while. I think Subaru is the one who is probably someone who has a lot of loyalty. And like, as long as they trust what's happening, they're gonna stay along for the ride. Like, I do think there's a few people that will stay around for a while. And even like potentially in like with like Marin, like stick around until they maybe physically can't do this anymore. Like at that point, like it seems like Marin, if Cover can stay around long enough, will actually be legitimately a grandma instead of just jokes of it. Like yeah, I don't know how that would work, right? Because like it gets to a point, man, where like it's too physically demanding. People are also saying Kanata's a ticking time bomb because of her like ear condition, and I think she has a throat condition as well. Like her hearing's getting worse, and it's like, man, if only, you know, capitalism didn't block us from making medical advancements so this stuff wouldn't be an issue. It'd be crazy. So like we literally can already like cure blindness at least a little bit. I'm not sure if it's like completely, but like was it retina transplants or whatever, or cornea, a part of the eye. Like yeah, we can make people like see for the first time. So like yeah, if only, you know. If only. Yeah, I actually found out Shion was graduating because yesterday, like in the morning, I was like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna look to see, like, check the sub counts and like try and update them or something. And then like I scrolled down a little bit and I saw Shion had plus 20,000. I was like, okay, what just happened? And my initial thing was like, was it like a 3D live or something like that? But yeah, no, obviously it's a graduation. Like, obviously. That's the only thing that's gonna freaking do that well, right? So yeah, that's how I found out. I think this is the one I've been the most okay with, and I think it's because there's also some upside to it. It's not just completely bad. Well, I mean, also obviously like they're doing their own thing, right? But like, it's a lot easier to see positives. I guess I should frame it better. It's a lot easier to see the positives of this departure than it is like just only looking at negatives. And maybe it's because I'm not looking at Doom posters. So it's a lot better, like for me, like a lot easier for me to look at the bright side of it. But like all I'm saying is like you can get an onion garlic reunion, you know. It's just one will be a cat, and then whatever Shion will be, I might get a reunion of that. Same with the orca. That would be so weird though. Like if they keep that up, I feel like it's very possible though, because it's the same person. I have no idea how this is gonna work now. Like that's another thing that's gonna be weird to like see. I'm very curious how that's gonna play out. Like, because yeah, Chloe's gonna be back, and I assume Shion's gonna be at some point. So like that's gonna be so weird. Because I assume they'd still do the, oh, like Shion's my Oshi or whatever, or like maybe like oh, Chloe's my Yoshi. Because I think also Mel does that, and her PL as well, is be like, oh, like Mel's my Yoshi. And like kind of do that. But yeah, that's gonna be very interesting. I'm very curious how that'll play out. But again, though, I want them to recover. It's just like for later down the line when that comes, cause that's gonna be real interesting. Yeah. I do think though, like it's very possible that there's still people who like, cause I still think it probably works where they cut their contract right and then they have like a set time afterwards where they still go. Because the thing is also like the talents are made aware of it so much in the future. Like they're aware of it so much beforehand. Like I assume they're made aware of it the second they do it. And obviously they can't say anything until the announcement drops. Because like every time, obviously, like Measures will be like, yeah, we knew about this for a while, or like, you know, heard about this. And yeah, like that could also make it real hard. And it seemed like, yeah, Shion was not one to typically open up from what Okayu was like talking about. She was not one to open up much about like real stuff anyway. Like she just wanted to have fun, not really worry about that stuff. But yeah, I do think that you do need at some point, I think, to balance it between like talking about serious stuff and like hanging out, having fun, you know. Because I think that is healthy to do. I think her kind of doing it on her own, right, with her mental, it seemed like, or at least like with Okayu, like not with Okayu. Okayu was just like, oh, let's have fun. I think as though it's the whole like overthinking of like, well, I don't want to like burden them or something like that, right? Or like make them worry. Oh, freaking god dang McDonald's. Like, I think it was like that. It was probably part of it. So, yeah. Oops. Alright, well, that's the song now. I think that was probably the main concern. That's probably why she didn't bring it up. Yeah. I would definitely be the person though to like check in every mental, be like, hey, what, we all doing all right? Like, roll call. All doing good? It's the, maybe like a weekly like check-in or whatever, see how people are feeling. And I think that was part of what like A-chan did, which is probably why like so many of them stayed, right? Because I think now like I wouldn't necessarily argue like A-chan probably is what, because A-chan kept, I think, Suisei and Miko at least in Hololive, like had them keep going, right? Like I think she was like one that made it so Hollow was still seen as like a better option. And like Shion's big at this point. Like Hololive's big enough, I think if any of them left, like they'll do fine. Except like Flow Glow, but obviously they just debuted, so yeah, it makes sense. And yeah, maybe some Hollow Stars, but I think under Hololive, I think if any of them like left, they'd be fine. I mean, let me just even look at Fauna, like, how many subs does she have? I'm pretty sure it was pretty big. Yeah, 550,000. Yeah, that's quite big. You know, for having like 900,000. Like that's crazy. Also, like I feel like it's a testament like Fauna's like viewers. The fact that she had like 900,000, right? And then when she re-debuted, she has 550,000 now. Like that's crazy that she retained over half, because I feel like that usually does not happen. To retain over half of your previous sub count, that's insane. Like I don't even think Sukuna, like Aqua, has done that. Like I don't don't think she has. Oh, of course it's not there. I forget her freaking name on your channel. No, it's not. God, freaking. If I just do VTuber, does that work? Well, she pops up, but her channel doesn't. I just wish I could. Why there's so many Sakunas, dude? God dang it. Alright, let me just freaking go in the description. God dang it. Alright. Well, I think, yeah, it's also hard because it's in Japanese. Now, to be fair, Sakuna's only had 30 streams. And he hasn't streamed in 3 weeks. I think it's because she also has, like, health issues of her own. And she's probably dealing with those, but... yeah, she only has 1 million. 1.02, which is not... it's not half. So yeah, like, Fauna's viewer retention is, like, pretty impressive. I think Shiori and the Novel Eats have kind of filled that void, at least in EN, for, like, the saplings. From what I've heard about them, like, I think they've filled that gap a little bit. They're like the next one that, like, I don't want to say cult following, but like one that doesn't have a lot of viewership, but like those viewers are dedicated. But like maybe it has a hard time getting new viewers, which is surprising me because I feel like Short is like one of the few, like, at least I would get recommended her shorts. So like, yeah, it's weird to me that she hasn't gotten more outreach, but what are you gonna do, you know? Yeah, I think I've been more okay about this, just because I can actually see the positives of this. I will say though, I will miss that goofy face that Shion has. Because like, I think that's the main sad thing about the models is like, yeah, those models are basically never going to be used again. And yeah, I really I'm going to miss that goofy face, because I don't know why, it just feels like it fits Shion. I don't know if it's maybe just because I'm used to it. But like, I feel like it fits so well, that freaking goofy face. That face where it looked like she was just a little high. Just a little bit. Yeah, I think also Choco's the only one left on that one Idol Project song, and I think if she were to leave, that would be the first Idol Project song where none of the members are there anymore. I think so. Nene has a song, I'm Difficult But Love Me, that's great. I love that. At least Idol Project's in its own thing. Yeah, let me just look at it. Yeah, obviously these ones are gonna have a lot. Oh, it includes like the Gen ones, like the full Gen songs as well, okay. Oh, and Umi Seed included. So like, yeah, I guess also like the bigger groups as well. That includes Oreo. Yeah, what's this section of Idol Project then? that's what I'm like, is it supposed to be like group stuff, I guess? It's more like group songs, I guess. Yeah, I think Halloween Night Tonight would be the first one. Well, yeah, because the thing is also a lot of these Idol Project songs, at least looks like they have a bunch of people singing them. So yeah. Yeah. Candy Around also has 3 people gone actually, and there's just Flare and Aki left. Halloween Night Tonight only has Choco now. So yeah, I think that's Gen 1, isn't it? Yeah. Even though it's written down as Idol Project. It's Gen 1. Yeah, Chinese Smiley Stories seems like it has a lot of them. Yeah, it's either that one or Candy Go Round. It's with Flare and Aki, and then Shion and Mel, or what? Shoko. Which I think this one's a lot more likely to. I don't know how like Shoko feels about it though. Same with Aki. I feel like Flare would stay. I think she'd be one of those. Like, I feel like Gen 3 is just like ones that are like gonna stay for quite a bit. Because like they're like the biggest gen. It's like, it makes sense. Like Flare kind of lags behind the rest of them. She's like 900k less than like all of them, which is weird to me, but yeah. She's a lot lower, but I think she'd still want to stick around. There's like, I think the only one of Gen 3 that's a little iffy. I think the other three would. Because I think there does kind of get to a point where like, they're so big. I mean, I guess Aqua did it. But like, I feel like Aqua's the one that makes sense though, to do it. You know? It makes sense for her to do it. I guess maybe that's me speaking in hindsight, but it's like if I ever look around her, like I don't think Subaru would. I don't think Watsume would. Ayame. I don't know about Ayame. It's just I don't know how to feel about like restrictions with stuff. Yeah, Kanata might have to leave also due to her condition. You know, I think if there's anything this has taught us though is like, these people need to be careful. Like they really need to control themselves. And like I think even yeah, you gotta be real careful. Yeah, she may announce it like 2 days before Fest too. But yeah, I think it is better, right? Because like obviously people are like, oh, like that'd be weird to have like a weird like down thing to happen, but it makes sense because like people know going in then that like that's her last Fest, so like you can go in with like going all out, right? The full over the top energy, right? Full support. I think also, do they MC during Fest? I think they do. So also they can have a moment there with like MC. Yeah, I think it's actually happening like right now, or like soon. Yeah, Son tweeting out that like people are getting dumber and more reactionary on the internet, including him. Like, it really resonated with me. Like, made me like think about that more. And it's like, yeah, it's really not great. And I think part of it is honestly trending. It's the trending features with like Twitter and Facebook, Blue Sky that they're implementing. Because now like you get engagement and you get followers from giving your initial gut reaction, which is usually not going to be good or very thought-provoking.
We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're
it just kind of like encourages that behavior, which is like not good. It's not a good behavior. It encourages you to be reactionary when like you shouldn't be. You should probably like think it through, right, and like talk about stuff. I think it was though, like that was the main thing why I was like so surprised with like the Shion thing. I'm not sure if it was just because it's a JP member, like maybe if it was an EN member again, like Twitter would have blown up, at least on our end. again, but yeah, it was very interesting to me that it was like a day essentially, and then it ended. Yeah, I feel like there might be another member. It's possible that like also is gonna leave, and then Yago post that and people are gonna be like, oh well, what happened? But like I think it'd probably just it's a contract thing. They like broke off with their contract and are writing it out from there. Because yeah, I think also like the staff generally like the talents like genuinely like talking to Yago, which is like not a thing most CEOs would have, right? Like that's not a trait I think typically they would show. So I think he does want to look out for him. I think I've seen a couple clips recently that like the Hollister's management's getting better, so that's nice. Honestly, like good, like not only just like because you know, yeah, they should be treated well, but also just so like, because I swear the only Hollister's clips are just like, oh, poor management. Like those are the ones that do well, and it's like, all right, well. Oh yeah, also Regis is back. I don't know if I talked about that. I think I might have, but I can't remember where he returned. I think it was like a week ago, something like that. Yeah, it was like literally like right after that stream. I was like, he's still gone, which is like kind of interesting. But yeah, no, he came back like I think like 3 days later. It's like, god dang it. I feel like I checked his Twitter that stream too, and like there was nothing, but maybe I didn't. Because I feel like he would have announced it like that soon out, but maybe not. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Because like I saw people getting upset about like the fauna figure like not happening because it showed the rest of like Promise, not fauna. But I think what they do is like they just make it so there's no merchandise site, like merchandise sales for the talents. So yeah, I think they did scrap it because like, yeah, they don't make merchandise anymore. At least like when I was understanding of affiliates, like I feel like if they graduated, it would be the same thing, where they like don't sell merch of the person anymore. So I think that's why they like scrapped the fauna one. Unless it was just like they don't make new merch, but like I feel like that'd be pretty obvious. They wouldn't make new merch. Like yeah, I thought it was like they just wouldn't sell merch of the person anymore. I think if it was that, then yeah, it makes sense on why fauna's not there and like they like scrapped it. I still just like kind of want someone to like join, like rejoin, just so I know it's possible, right? Like, although yeah, I don't know, because I feel like that would also be the biggest pain for literally all the rest of them. Like that left, because then people are just like, hey, you should go back to Hololive. It's gonna be like the Ray Narvaez thing all over again, you know? People are just like, hey, go back. When are you coming back? It's like, just let them be themselves, dude. There's a reason why they made the decision they did. Alright. Yeah. This one though, I think was like the first one, like going back to like the me being like, oh, like 2 of them graduated, only 1 have been affiliate. I think this one though is like actually one where she chose graduation, because I feel like with the fauna one, it's like kind of up in the air, like if she knew it was a thing or not. Like that one, I feel like it's kind of up in the air, but I think with the Shion one, like, yeah, no. I think for sure that was after that point, like she was aware that was a thing and she still chose to graduate anyway. So yeah. Yeah, I wasn't really thinking of like playing a game. Well, the problem is I was like, oh, I want to play Fire Emblem. And it was like half an hour before. I was like, well, I won't get far into it or like I'll lose track of time pretty easily. Yeah, I have an issue. I just wish I had more games, man. Yeah, I don't know if I have much else. I think I basically exhausted that whole thing. And yeah, it was like 50 minutes. It's like just a little later than I was predicting maybe, but yeah. I'm really glad that the like people didn't like care about the Doombo scene or like the antis. That's great. Oh yeah, I will say Carney's another one that's like eventually going to leave. She's also one that like probably doesn't have much time left. I heard that with like Risu too, from like what she had at the beginning of the year. I didn't watch the clip though. I was recommended and I didn't watch it. I'm upset at myself. Although I'm sure that one will probably like be recirculated if she does leave like within the next year. Yeah. Like I'm just trying to get in my mind. I think it's more so I mentally prepare myself for when that announcement happens. It probably won't work though. And also like, yeah, even though it was the most fine about it, I definitely still cried when like, or like teared up when I saw like the people's messages and stuff, the members, and then like Shion's replies to them. Cause yeah, I got the impression like Shion was like that super like introvert, but like the fact that she was the first one to reach out like most of gamers. Actually, yeah, all three of the gamers members that like, because Fubuki was Gen 1. Be their first collab, right? Like, I feel like that's like not a super introvert thing to do, you know? Like, if she is an introvert, she's at least like real brave with her social interactions. So yeah, and I think at the time something that seemed so small, right? Like it's just like I think Fubuki, I think Matsuri talked about it, like Fubuki retweeting their streams like when the other members were streaming, right? Like that's huge. Like it might seem small and insignificant, but like it was huge. And I kind of brought them like together, you know, made them all feel like one collective unit. It's like, yeah, even like the small stuff, dude. I mean, Ame was the one who like started like with like the VTuber schedules, right? And like now like every VTuber does it. I've even seen like people like John do it, like Proton John does it. It has like stream schedules. Like it's insane. And like, yeah, it was kind of like Ame that started it. I still don't like though the person who did the clip had like Ame as an angry face. I know like Ame herself also was like upset about that. It's just like, why did you make it like her have the angry face? That just completely implies something else. It was the same thing also though with like, I think it was just a news VTuber, but like it showed her and then like the text was she's done, and it's like, you could have done a better text for it. Like, come on. That like completely implies something else, right? Like it's definitely would be more like frustrations instead of just like, oh, I have mental and like physical issues, you know? Like that's the kind of clickbait I have issues with, when like it completely just has a different, like I feel like the people who like, because there's one clip where it's like, oh, like Karani loses it over like watching old clips, and like, yeah, sure, she doesn't like make any noise, but like people got so upset about that. I was like, All right. Whatever, dude. Like that kind of clickbait is like whatever. Like the type of clickbait that bothers me is like making something that implies something else, right? And like especially something that's more negative when like it isn't. It was just like an observation or something, or like kind of neutral, and then you just make it have a negative spin on it. Like why? You didn't need to do that. Stop it. So nice. That's another thing too, is like someone got really upset because there's a clip show of like Call Life Justice clips every day or something like that, and then someone got upset because they didn't do a Justice clip. It's like that kind of stuff's like, I don't care, dude, honestly. I really don't. Whatever, man. Because like as long as it's like not like damaging, I don't really care. Because like I'm still watching a clip, right? I'm still watching something, you know, like I'm still enjoying it. So like I feel like it's just stupid when people are just upset about like that kind of clickbait. There's so much better stuff to care about. Honestly. I think that's definitely one of those things though, where like me getting into politics is definitely made me care less about that kind of thing. You know? Same like food stuff as well, but yeah. Alright. Yeah, I think they're getting there. Oh yeah, because also these are figures at the event. Like, yeah, I think it makes sense for Fauna not to. Yeah, so if it's stuff that was like not at the event, I think that makes sense also because Fauna's not there. Like, I get, like, I can understand people being upset about that, but it's like, also she's not there. I mean, yeah, if they did it with the other ones who left already, right? Like, then I think you have more reason to complain, but I think it's the same way with that as well, so. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much done, but so I'm probably just gonna end it because I'm just getting on Twitter now and just not saying anything. So yeah, I'm gonna give this and get out of here. Hopefully I'll do something. So yeah, I'll see you freaking someday. But yeah. Goodbye.